I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk about solutions versus benefits. And then we're going to break up into some small groups and give you some time to map that out for yourselves and kind of talk amongst each other. Then we're going to come back and share that out. And then we're going to do a case study and kind of delve into how do we create value propositions? When you're figuring out the fit between the problem that your customer has and the solution that you're offering, it's really important to think about the difference between solutions and benefits. The solution is what you're offering to address your customer's problem, but the concrete thing that you would see listed on a receipt, right? So I put these two like easy photos because I was like, okay, there's donuts, and that would literally be what it would say on the receipt, like the donut, right? Or the actual admission to the jump house, right? And then there's the benefit, which is different. So it describes how your product solves the customer's problem, and it goes into the psychological things, like how does it make them feel or enhance their well-being, right? And so I think it's really important to differentiate the tangible physical thing or the bare minimum product or service that you're offering from the actual benefits that that gives your customer. So who wants to throw out an example? I know we have like a beauty care, skin care. So what would the difference be between like your tangible product and what it delivers to the customer?
So let's say, I hope I'm understanding this right. All right, so let's say someone has dry skin, and the benefit to, I would say, shea butter is now they will have moisturized skin. So it solves the solution. Shea butter is the solution to their dry skin problem.
Yep. Yeah. And then the benefit is that they don't have to like be itching in public, or they don't have to like wear long sleeves to hide their dry skin, right? So that's like a psychological benefit. It's like a fitting in, it's like a well-being, right? So thank you for sharing that as an example. That was perfect. So the benefit, like you said, it usually stems from giving them more of something or giving them or taking something away that is causing them a pain, right? So here's some examples, like you're adding love into their life, you're adding money, you're adding acceptance, you're adding free time, you're adding belonging in a group, right? Or you're adding, being a part of something bigger. Whereas you can also take something away, right? So you can take away stress, right? Maybe going to the jump house takes away stress for the parent, right? You can take away conflict. You can make something easier for someone. You can take away hassle. You can take away that uncertainty of, I don't know if my skin is going to be this dry forever, right? Or in Giselle's case, like, I don't know if my makeup artist is going to show up before the quinceañera and I'm freaking out, right? So you're taking a pain away from them. So you can either add something in or take something away. Questions, and then we're going to have time to practice this in small groups, so you don't have to write all this down. So what can I add to my customer's life to make it better? What can I take away? How am I actually solving this problem that my customers have that links directly to your customer portrait, right? So how are you solving the problem that that customer has? What draws my customer to my product or service? So why are they going to choose what you have over what someone else has? And then what motivates my customer to buy, right? So maybe skincare isn't the best example for me, but what would motivate me to buy shea butter is like, I am itchy and it is uncomfortable and I need to go in and buy that shea butter. So, and then how will the customer's life be different from your solution, right? So these are questions to think about as we kind of map out our solutions and benefits. In the business world, this is known as the value proposition. So when you add the solution and the benefit together, and then you add an advantage, which we're going to talk about next, you create the value proposition. So what is that match between your solution, your benefit, the pains of the customer that you're solving, and then the advantage that you have over someone else, right? So why are you better? Why is your team better? Why would they buy it from you over someone else? So these are some things to be thinking about when we're doing the activity. And then so advantage, right? What sets you apart from the solution? I mean, there's like a million pizza places, right? And I like to use pizza as an example. So someone throw out, what's your favorite pizza place and why is it better than the other one? Well, let's use skincare as an example. Why do you buy one brand of skincare over another?
Reviews and reputation.
Yeah, totally. So that's the advantage, right? So maybe they're a similar product, but you know that one is going to work better for you. An advantage can be nostalgic too, right? It can be like, well, that's the burger place I went to as a kid, right? You know, it can be any of those things. So why should my customer trust and believe me? That's exactly what you were just talking about, Tiffany. Like, why do they believe that my jump house is safe? Or why do they believe that I am going to show up at the quinceanera and deliver the service? Or why am I going to drive down to Danville to buy bread, right? Because I know it's the best sustainable bread in all of Southern Virginia. So these are the things to think about. What does it stand out? And then why is your team the right one? Why are you and the people you're working with the right people to deliver this solution that solves the problem for your customer in a way that is better than anyone else is doing it? So that's kind of a brief overview. And now I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to split into halves. And I want you to map out what are your solutions that you're providing to the customers? And then what are the benefits as well, right? So I would literally draw a line down the middle on your sheet of paper, and I would map out what are the solutions, maybe do 3 or 4, and then what are the benefits. So I would love to hear some quick examples of what you came up with. I think a really cool thing about the Co-Starters model is we can like co-create knowledge together. And so like everything in here is confidential, no one's stealing anyone's idea, but we can bounce off of each other, hence like the part of Co-Starters. So I'd love to hear some examples of what y'all came up with.
My solutions are if local entertainment, is activities, is family-centered events, and it's an outlet. The benefits are saves money because it's local and saves boredom by the kids, less stress on parents because they don't have to commute. It's convenient, saves time and give parents more free time, and it creates happiness and memories.
Awesome. Good job. All right, who else wants to share?
Some of the solutions I came up with accompanied by the benefits is already prepared. Food is done, so that's more time back with your family. It curtails the hunger, so you make it to your destination, your place on time. It's on the go. Is a quick fix or a snack, dessert. You know, it quiets your children or angry stomach. Is duty free. You don't have to do the work. Someone else is doing it for you, so it's more quality time. Reading a book or getting work done or just relaxing. It's convenient. You know, it's in your local commuting area, downtown or what have you. So it's cost efficient versus your large retail commercial market chains that's could be pricey. And you know, it's your tea time, your social time. So you don't have to have excuse that nor have a mess to clean up or excuse not to have it.
These are good. Awesome job. So I know that our groups kind of got split up short. So I want to give folks a chance for maybe 10 more minutes to get split back up and really delve into that. And you can update the solution and benefits section of your Canvas. Did you get sticky notes in the binder that they gave you? Okay, sweet. I would recommend using sticky notes. I know that you've probably heard this because it's going to change, right? As our customer portrait changes, the problems that customer has are going to change. And then the solution and the benefits are also going to change. And that's okay. I think that's a big part of Co-Starters. If you find out now that your idea isn't going to work, we can shift it and you can pivot into an idea that will work rather than getting out there and losing a bunch of money. Not speaking from experience, but kind of. So I think this kind of exercise is really good to go into first, because then we're not baking. I'm trying to think of a horrible flavor of bread, Sonia. I don't know if there is a horrible flavor of bread, but we're not baking like bread that smells like skunks. So not that you would do that, but yeah. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to split back into groups and let's spend about 10 minutes actually fleshing this stuff out, getting feedback from each other and being vulnerable and throwing those ideas out and saying like, hey, do you believe that this would be the benefit of a CBD product? Or do you believe this would be the benefit of a skin product? So use each other to kind of vet those ideas. So there is a chart after that. So I would love to talk through just as another practice with solution, benefit, and advantage. What do y'all think his solution, his benefit is? And then also what is his advantage? Like what sets him apart from the other bakeries in town?
Small batches, fresh ingredients.
Say more. Why does that set him apart? Like, why is it different or better to have those things? And you know this.
Because it's quality ingredients. He spent time with it. He's care and it's quality, and it's not a lot of preservatives. It's not high in it's not mass production where it's not the care taken in that production. And
Absolutely. What
I
else?
like how and that's how many think. Um, Working for someone else or working for yourself, if you make more, like the benefit of that, but you also have to consider the convenience of working with someone else that already have their build out versus you obtaining it and starting from ground up. Could be a disadvantage. So I guess, doesn't he still think about that solution though, since he's kind of gonna get back with them?
So what are other advantages that folks can think of?
It could be one advantage is giving back to the community because he's local.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're more affordable.
Yeah, totally. You can be better and more affordable, right?
The other advantage would be he has a close connection with the community, and he can, feel the pulse of his customers and be able to maybe offer custom deliveries of breads and things like that. Whereas if you go to a grocery store, you got to just pretty much select what they have on the shelf. But he could offer, like, take custom orders and things like that. So that would be an advantage as well.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up his network, right? Like, don't underestimate the power of y'all's networks. Like, people that would already come and buy from you immediately. So like you have that advantage in the place that you're at over a big corporation coming in and doing it. Yep. Okay, have we hammered on benefits, solutions, and advantage enough? Does everyone feel like you get the difference between those things? You feel like you can map it out even further on your canvas? Okay, cool. Well, then I would say we are due for another 5-minute break. We're a couple of minutes ahead of schedule. So any questions remaining, or?
Carla, I sent you a message in the chat about your connection with Brent. If you don't mind looking at that for me on the break, that'd be awesome. We just want to make sure we just want to connect.
Right. I also want to say, I get it. I know people are busy. So, I didn't want to come off as like, oh man, I'm just at the end of the world.
No, not at all. But if you all tell us that you've connected with somebody and maybe they haven't followed up, we will gently kind of check on that from week to week. So the second you mentioned that, we started tagging some folks and they were like, oh, okay, well, he was out of the office Friday. Maybe, can you tell us more? So but you will notice that if we connect y'all with folks and if you tell us that they haven't gotten back to you, we might politely nudge them again if we need to help support y'all on your journey. So just know that that's part of our role. So, and please do share those with us. And we know, we're not worried about like when you connect, but we want to help make sure you do get a chance to connect if that's something you all want to do, no matter who it is. In this particular instance, Carla, we're talking about kind of making sure you get to connect with Brent, but as we have other speakers throughout the course, we just want to make sure everybody can connect in a time frame that works with everyone's schedules.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
I don't want to toot your horn, Jen, but Jen is like, she knows everyone powerful. Like she makes things happen, at least in the Farmville area. So one thing
I have to put my business in Farmville then.
One thing did come up in our small group that I thought was important to note. You can book a one-on-one appointment with any of the SBDC consultants. Hope I don't know what capacity you have for meetings, but I know that I do have capacity in my day to do that. So reach out to Brandon and he will connect you with the right person. In our sub meeting on Friday, we talked about who might be the right person for your business that knows about that industry and has connections.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take a 5-minute break and we will come back at 7:50. So while folks are coming back, you can go to page 3.8, page 8, and there's a case study that we're going to look at on that page. So I think this is the thing that a lot of you were talking about earlier. How do you start small? What is the right way to start small? And how does that look? And that links to MVP, which is minimum viable product. So how do we serve our customers now and not someday? And how do we make our customers an important part of the startup process? So how do we include their pains or what we can add to their life in the process of actually launching our product in a way that feels tangible and doesn't feel huge and like it's out there? Questions to think about with this: what is absolutely essential to solving your customer's problem? What can you take away, right? Does it have to be the whole store, or can it be 1 or 2 products to start? Does it have to be the full service, the full dream, or can it be a prototype of that service? What is the quickest way to a sale? I think that's another really important question to ask yourself. Carla, you were talking about that. I don't know if you want to throw out an example, like you're out there selling product. Do you want to give us a quick example of how you've kind of started small and gone for it?
Yeah, actually, mostly through my church. My mom's the pastor of the church, and we set up the store on my dining room table, and we have Zoom church. And so, because of COVID, and so one Sunday after the service, she asked folks that wanted to stick around. And so I did a little home shopping network kind of presentation, and got a lot of orders. And so kind of like slumped off. And just this past Sunday, I did another presentation, and I sold surprisingly quite a bit of just candles mostly, and some bath salts. So, and actually one of the members did say, well, hey, you have anything with CBD in it? And I was like, no, not yet, but I'm hopefully gonna, get to that point. So yeah, I was really surprised, really, and grateful.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, what an awesome, like, you literally put it on your dining room table and you showed folks on Zoom and you did your infomercial, right? So how many customers can you actually reach now? I think that's like the perfect example. Like, you used your network of people that you know to pitch your product right now, not tomorrow. And then who you know that is willing to try new things, even though they aren't perfect, right? It's easier to test out our prototypes on friends who aren't going to like go put a Yelp review up or talk trash about us. They're just going to be like, hey, yeah, that was gross. So I think it's really important to think about, who do you know? How can you start tomorrow? Minimum viable product is a business term. So what is the basic unit of sale that is the minimum sale you could do to your customers, right? So is that the candle? Is that a loaf of artisan bread? Is that a service, Giselle, where you actually drive and you deliver the most basic service possible? I put these examples on there because in design thinking, which is kind of another method for this, you want to do a quick and dirty prototype. So I think actually like making the candles, getting them out there, that is an example of like a quick prototype, because then you can get feedback, right? And so for some of you that have services, it is okay to do a theatrical prototype, right? I give my students, the college students, this famous example of they redesigned pediatric hospitals for kids by strapping a camera onto someone's chest and then going into the hospital. And what do you think when they brought that camera back? What do you think they saw on the camera? Like if I was leaning on my back and the camera was looking up and I went to the children's hospital.
Themselves?
Yeah, they saw like a white ceiling, nothing. It looked scary and terrible. And so a design team was actually able to say, okay, what if we made this look like a pirate ship? Or how can we change this experience? So I share that example to say that you can prototype a service too. You can prototype what it looks like for someone coming into your store and buying your product. I think that's all really important to think about. So think about, what is your minimum viable product, whatever that is. And then when we do costs later, we can actually start thinking about pricing, right? What is the minimum viable product? and then we can price that out per unit. And then we can actually figure out, okay, what is the break-even point? How do I sell enough of this skincare product before the ingredients I make it with go bad? So they're all building blocks on one another. So we are going to now look at that case study, and then I'll screen share again. So who's got ideas? And I think it's probably a lot of the feelings a lot of people are having. It's overwhelming to think like, whoa, I have to start huge and do all of the things. How can David start small?
Bake sales.
Farmers market.
Yep, farmers
You
market.
get a food truck. Is that like, yeah. I don't know.
With someone else's food truck if you don't have it already.
That's a good
that
idea.
is small. Yeah. You could borrow one, maybe. I don't know.
And
Sell from home, essentially.
he could see if the brewers that he wants to have for this coffee would sell some of his stuff in their business.
Or sidewalk set up.
Partner. Yeah. Or you could start selling to friends and family. Or maybe even give some things away, like with the candles. I gave some of them away and they liked them. So
what is the very least that he would need to make a sale? Like, let's break it down even further. What are the bare minimum things he needs to make a sale? Just one sale.
The product.
The product. Not the whole shebang, but just start with one.
One bread.
All right. How much does it cost to make a loaf of bread, and what do we need?
I have no
Bread,
clue.
flour, salt, water, yeast.
$10
a place
maybe?
to break it, right?
Say again.
A place to bake it, right?
Well, his oven, perhaps, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, if push come to shove, he can put some logs together and find an old-fashioned stove. Do it outside, doesn't cost anything.
Yeah. So metaphorically, this is the way we want you to start thinking. And then the last question is the toughest, because everyone is so passionate and our ideas were so stuck to you. And I've made this same mistake in the business world myself, right? I tried to open a coffee shop / place where people could get beer. And I discovered that like people just weren't as passionate about that as I was, right? And so it never got off the ground. But I was like so stuck that it had to be like the best coffee ever, right? Instead of shifting to something different. So what parts of David's dream can wait, do you think?
The
big
premium
white-
sandwiches, the specialty breads,
The wide open space with lots
Yeah.
of natural light.
yep. Wooden tables, customers, a place for them to sit and eat. I guess the infrastructure, the building can wait since you can't afford it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we're not telling anyone not to follow their biggest dreams. We're just recommending that you start small, right? So I think now there is an activity on 3.9, and we actually want to give you some time in breakout groups to map that out for each of your ideas. So can everyone see the one that says have to have now and add later? And then what can you do this week to actually get started? Okay, sweet. So I am going to put you back in the breakup rooms, and then we're going to do 10 minutes on this. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns, poems? Okay, cool. All right. Then I will throw you back into the same rooms. All right. So I think we're actually almost right on time. So I was in one of the breakout rooms. How did the other one go? Yeah, I think ours went well too. I'm just inspired by the business ideas from everyone and what is going to be in this region and what I can go and support and buy things from.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'll hand it over to you now, Hope. And a lot of people have been asking about marketing and branding, so I think this is a good transition.
Okay, cool.